Hi guys, in today's video we're going to be making and painting some Slaaneshi Cultists for your new Chaos Codex armies. I'll see you after this. So this is an idea I've had kicking about for a while but never got round to doing it, and perhaps the new Chaos Codex finally motivated me. The idea is based on the mythological Greek god Pan, who is depicted as a faun, a half-man, half-goat. He is a god of nature and wild places and is associated with fertility, and there are also connections to Bacchus, the demigod of wine. So I guess the whole fertility and wine thing gave me a Slaaneshi vibe. The idea was therefore fairly simple to do: combine the Games Workshop Ungor body with a Slaaneshi head from my bits box, and give them some weapons. There are quite a few build options with this kit, but for the first squad of 10 I'm going to do, I wasn't going to worry too much about musicians and standard bearers. It was mostly a close combat focused force I was after. And checking the sprues over, it became obvious that the best way to do this would be to use the close combat weapon, but also give them the bow holding arm and trim the pieces of bow off, leaving a closed fist which a pistol could be added to. I had previously 3D printed in resin some auto pistols and also a few other chaosy looking heads that I'd found, I think it was on Cultists 3D, a site where you can download various components and things quite easily. And I also used obviously the Slaaneshi demon heads and ones also from the Hellstriders box, which all had interesting options. Snip the body from the sprue, and once he's off, use your knife and trim away all those mold lines. Select the head you want and trim and tidy that up too. The Ungor head sits quite deep into the torso of the model, so when you put the Slaaneshi head on you're going to have a bit of a void to fill, so I glued the heads in place and then filled that void with some green stuff putty. I then forgot to film the next bit, which was gluing all the arms on. So the weapon arm in the right hand is just straight from the Ungor sprue. The left arm, as said previously, is the bow arm with the bow parts chopped off, and then the resin pistol super glued into place. As you can see them all now, the squad of 10 is done and ready for painting. Can you spot the leader? He's got his pistol, gangster style. The models were airbrush primed with my own blend of Wraithbone. This is a mix of the Vallejo Surface Primers Desert Tan and White with some thinner medium mixed in to thin them.
You
I usually give the models 2 thin coats of the airbrushed primer. And since these models are only cultists and they're probably going to get shot off the table in one turn of firing, I wasn't going to go overboard on the paint job, so decided I would just use contrast paints for speed and ease. If you don't want to watch the full paint job, you can always skip to the end of the video to see how they turned out. After the Leadbelcher had dried, I did Nuln oil it, but forgot to video that bit. I wanted the cultists to have a pinkish skin tone, but the contrast voluptuous pink would be too dark, so I thinned it down with some glaze medium, roughly 2 parts to 1 part. Once the contrast paints were dry, I did do some dry brush highlighting and some edge highlighting on various areas of the models. I left the skin tone as is. I didn't bother to film those small sections. Contrast paint is quite thin, so you do need to varnish your models. Once the paint was dry, I added a gloss varnish first. Followed by a matte varnish. And once the varnish is dried, it was time for basing, and again I used the Diorama Muds from Misc. I was going for an industrial rubble look, so before the mud diorama paste had dried, I pressed into it various broken bits of plastic and things. These are pieces of support material or bits of failed print from 3D printing. They always make for some interesting shapes and textures, particularly this sort of twisted wire look. And once the paste has dried, those pieces are locked in tight. So that's the model and the squad done. Here's a few still shots of the squad as you can see them all in their glory, ready for fight for Slaanesh. And there's a little carousel coming up so you can see them from all angles. I hope you found this video interesting and enjoyable, and maybe you picked up a trick or two. Please like, share, subscribe, you know the drill guys, and we'll catch you in time for the next one. Cheers.